to protect. Well, a very good evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us, CTV PM edition. I am Kalachi Brian with Isaac Richams on sign language. Tonight we remind you that the Ebola virus is out there. You need to protect yourself and wash your hands, avoid unnecessary body contact, and if you happen to notice any symptoms, be quick to report to a medical facility. Starting us off today, efforts by the Ministry of Health to fight Ebola requested a 3-month budget of shillings 76 billion. The ministry got shillings 20 billion and they are waiting for shillings 56 billion, which has to be approved by Parliament as soon as MPs return from recess next week. Here are the details.
Generally, the isolation facilities do not allow crossing over of patients.
On Thursday last week, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, the health minister, told journalists in Kampala that several locations have been identified to work as isolation centers for Ebola patients and suspected patients. She said the centers are at Mulago Referral Hospital and Entebbe Hospital. She said they are waiting for the passing of a supplementary budget of 56 billion Ugandan shillings by Parliament to facilitate efforts to stop the spread of Ebola.
Yes, the response plan was costed at 76 billion for a period of 3 months. Government of Uganda put $6 million through the Ministry of Health. And yes, we are waiting for the balance of the money, the 56 billion.
However, some members of Parliament have questioned the purpose of the supplementary budget.
When we pass a budget of 48 trillion shilling, government is allowed to spend an extra 3% without parliamentary approval to deal with emergencies. Unfortunately, government usually uses that money on issues that are not of urgent nature. And then when they have issues of urgent nature, then they come and begin blackmailing Parliament. Because before finance returns to Parliament, has the 3% that government is allowed to spend without parliamentary approval been exhausted? Even within the ministry, because you see, the Ministry of Health's budget, apart from the government budget, is also a forecast, because we may not know how many people will fall sick in a year. So the money we provide, if you have Ebola and you have less malaria, it means you move money with the approval of Ministry of Finance and Parliament, meant to do other things, and then you deal with Ebola.
But before they come for the next batch of money, we should know how much money they took and of what, how has it been used. We must have value for money. We give you this, you want more balance, but first the money is which we gave you first. You need to account for it so that it can be justifiable to give you the next batch. We cannot just approve money when we have not seen what it has done.
Ronald Balimwezo Nsubuga, the Nakawa East MP, says the supplementary budget is suspicious, saying it could be diverted or swindled.
I think that's a lot of money. We should work ways of making sure that we trace part of that money to make sure that we sensitize our population. We don't need that much. We need to procure protective gear for our people. We should sensitize the VHTs using that money. But it's too much for it to be expended on Ebola alone.
On Thursday, the Ministry of Health announced the outbreak of Ebola in 3 schools in Lubaga Division, and a few days later, a circular was issued to all schools banning visitation days.
Yes, it is very important that we should have that sense of responsibility and sense of belonging. Most people don't care. You find a person is sick, he has not known what he's suffering from, but he just moves around. He gets a taxi, borders, goes to a family, goes to a shrine, goes to where, before even establishing what he's suffering from.
It's more than a month since the pandemic broke out in Muvende and Kasanda district. More than 100 people have been affected. Martha Amanya, CTV, PM edition.
Still about the Ebola virus, after an announcement by the Ministry of Health that 15 residents of Kampala had tested positive for Ebola this week, the Education Ministry responded by banning visiting days in all schools across the country. Some of the cases have been registered among students from families of known contacts. We have the details.
Following the announcement, Taxi operators in Kampala have started enforcing some standard operating procedures to control the spread of Ebola. At Nakasero Market, nobody was enforcing the SOPs and the water tanks were empty and abandoned. At some entrance points of the old taxi park, members of the public are directed to wash their hands. At other entry points, nobody is reminding them to enforce the SOPs. The Ministry of Education also banned any school activities like leavers parties and non-essential trips out of school, and this is to go on till the end of the term. The latest Ebola epidemic update by the Ministry of Health indicates that 115 people are infected. Kampala alone has 15 cases. The disease that was first reported in Mubende and Kasanda districts has claimed 32 people. Early this week, Dr. Samuel Oledo, a Uganda Medical Association president, advised that the country should be put under lockdown, which the ministry rejected and instead advised the public to follow. On average, 50% of people who contract Ebola die. Martha Amanya, Mark Chigundu, CTV, PM Edition.
A group of people in Soba East have donated land to KCCA to use for the improvement of sanitation in the area. The slum area has been grappling with lack of public toilets. Here's more.
The residents briefed KCCA's Executive Director, Dorothy Kisaka, about the various challenges they face in the congested Kampala suburb. They include poor sanitation, poor drainage, theft, lack of health centers and schools, which has hindered development in the area. According to the village LOC1 chairman, Haman Katongole, some parts of the area have no power, which makes it easy for thugs to ambush and rob from residents at night.
We have a black spots like Chigozi Road. People have been stoned there and they get a problem.
Katongole says many youths in the area are unemployed.
We need a community center where youth can be trained in a different skills. Like in the different skills like getting jobs we fight against unemployment amongst the youth.
The zone is home to former hawkers who no longer go to the city center because of the KCCA's ban on hawkers. Mulago 3 Councillor Rose Kaitasi asked KCCA to consider licensing hawkers and vendors to operate outside the city's central business district. Saka thanked residents for providing land where a 2-stands public toilet will be constructed by KCCA.
Given us land, 2 of the citizens have given us land, which we are very grateful for, and we are going to build those toilets. We are also going to increase the number of visits in our garbage disposal plan.
Saka provided foodstuffs to some families in Insoba East. Sharon Twebaze, CTV, PM Edition.
Well, we take a short break. When we come back, we hear from the tax collectors, Uganda Revenue Authority. Don't link.
Do you love me?
Very much.
I'll catch you one day. Pants down.
I want to spoil you. I want you to eat my money.
She believes I'm in love with her guy.
You go? If I had to live everywhere I'm not loved, where would I end up?
The dirty guy hides in the hospital for 40 years, but at night, he walks the streets, commits crimes, and then he comes back and pretends to be alive again.
I will break you, Spooky. Do not answer any question about Roho. He's your brain!
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
Hits it in the air. Will that be set? He's done it. What a magnificent performance.
Recharge your day with Sting. Extreme energy, refreshing taste, available countrywide. Sting, live switched on, from the makers of Pepsi.
CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV, don't blink.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us once again. I am Kalachi Brian with Isaac Richams on Sign Language. Uganda Revenue Authority has introduced a bonded warehouse information management system that will be used in custom bonded warehouses to facilitate the reconciliation of taxes on imported goods. The system will be used to verify imports for purposes of stopping tax evasion. The system was launched by the Commissioner General of Uganda Revenue Authority, John Musinguzi, at Lexus ICD in Namamve Industrial Area. Musinguzi says the system will make it easy for URA to monitor all imported goods from Mombasa to custom bonded warehouses for storage and tax evaluation. He asked operators of other ICDs to install weigh bridges, CCTV cameras, and other equipment necessary to fight tax evasion. Musinguzi says over 160 ICDs that do not have modern facilities will be inspected and given a deadline of 2024 to install them, and those that will fail will see their licenses not renewed. He says they should not spoil the opportunity that was given to them to thrive in business because in some countries such a service is owned by the state. Moving on, the National Drug Authority has closed 830 drug outlets in 7 districts of northern Uganda. According to NDA officials, the affected drug shops were operating illegally since they employed unqualified workers. Well, we shall be giving you that story later on in the bulletin. For now, let's move on to our regional roundup. A security threat alert from the United States of America has triggered South Africa and Nigeria to announce extra security measures. Also in the regional roundup, a number of police officers in Kenya have been charged for crimes like rape, theft, and assault during the 2017 post-election violence. The details.
The police and armed forces in South Africa announced on Friday that security would be reinforced this weekend following an alert launched by the U.S. Embassy in Pretoria last Wednesday. The alert warned of a possible attack this Saturday in a suburb north of Johannesburg. South Africa hosts 4 major events this weekend, including the coronation of King Misuzuru Zulu in Durban, an event attended by the President Cyril Ramaphosa. There is also a rugby match in Pretoria and the football derby in Soweto. Nigeria's capital Abuja is also under a security alert. Since Sunday that the embassies of the United States, Britain, Australia and Canada have been alerting to the high probability of an attack in the capital. On Friday, the Nigerian government said it had beefed up security and called for the public to remain vigilant but calm. Government troops are fighting jihadist insurgents, mostly in the northeast, though there are some small cells in other parts of the country. Several Kenyan police officers are being prosecuted for crimes against humanity, including the murder of a baby during post-election violence. The Kenyan National Commission on Human Rights had documented 94 deaths, 201 cases of sexual violence, and more than 300 injuries attributed mainly to law enforcement. A 6-month-old baby, Samantha Pendo, was beaten by police following a raid in Kisumu in the west of the country. This according to the statement from the prosecutor's office, which did not specify the identity or number of people targeted. According to the prosecutor's office, these are the first cases of crimes against humanity charged under Kenyan law. On October 24th, 4 police officers, members of the SSU, were charged with the disappearance of 3 men whose bodies were never found. The Kenyan police have been accused in the past of running hit squads targeting people investigating alleged human rights violations by security services, including lawyers. The new UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, welcomed the decision of the Kenyan judicial authorities, saying it is an important step towards accountability for gross human rights violations in Kenya after the 2017 post-election violence. In 2017, incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta was declared the winner of the election, but his main opponent, Raila Odinga, pointed to fraud and challenged the results. Demonstrations by Odinga's supporters were suppressed by the police. The prosecutor's office said the delay in the investigation was due in part to the complexity of the offenses. Kenyan President William Ruto, who was elected in August, announced on October 16th the dismantling of the dreaded Special Services Unit, a 20-year-old police unit under fire for enforced disappearances and killings. The head of the state also promised an overhaul of the police.
Away from Africa, the latest from the Russia-Ukraine war is a statement from the governor of Sevastopol, a city in Crimea, which says Russia has repelled drone attacks from Ukraine. And Shanghai's Disneyland has reduced operations to curb COVID-19 after China reports over 1,000 cases in the last 5 days.
A Russian insult governor has said that the Russian Navy was repelling a drone attack in the Bay of Sevastopol early Saturday. The region houses Moscow's Black Sea Fleet in Moscow-annexed Crimea. Sevastopol is the largest city in Crimea, Ukraine, and a major port on the Black Sea. Ships of the Black Sea Fleet are repelling a UVA unmanned aerial vehicle in Sevastopol Bay. Sevastopol Governor Mikhail Razvozheyev said on Telegram, no facilities in the city have been hit. The situation is under control. A TASS correspondent also reported hearing a powerful blast early morning. Ferry crossings in Sevastopol have been suspended. Razvozheyev had said earlier this week that a drone had attacked a thermal power station near Sevastopol. The Russian fleet stationed in the port had also reportedly been attacked by a drone in July. Ukrainian forces have been pressing a counter-offensive to retake regions in the country's Russian-occupied south. Russia annexed the Crimea Peninsula from Ukraine in 2014. Its forces attacked Ukraine from several directions in February this year, including from Crimea. Shanghai's Disneyland, in a statement on Saturday, announced that it will operate at a reduced capacity to comply with COVID-19 regulations, giving a hint of tightening controls across China as it attempts to stop the spread of the virus among its people. As per sources posted on the official website of the amusement park, it will impose a temporary reduction in staff members and will affect how several rides, restaurants, and various retail facilities operate. However, the statement further stated that Wishing Star Park, Disneytown, and the Shanghai Disneyland Hotel would run as usual. China has been imposing COVID-19 restrictions to curb the spread of the illness. The country today reported more than 1,000 new COVID-19 cases nationwide for the 5th day in a row, a low number compared to the thousands per day that had put Shanghai under lockdown earlier this year. Similarly, on Wednesday, saw the closure of Beijing's Universal Resort theme park, where at least one tourist tested positive for the virus. Another measure to curb the virus, a new type of inhaling COVID vaccine, has been introduced this week in Shanghai, being the first in the world. In September, Chinese authorities gave their approval for CanSino Biologics 6185HK, a COVID vaccine booster. As per official data, over 90% of China has been vaccinated. China is making efforts to reach its zero COVID policy by increasing its vaccination campaigns.
Well, we take a short break. When we come back, we find out what happened in the world of sports.